Welcome, everyone. We're going to give folks just a little bit more time here to join us, but we're so happy to have y'all with us for Cami. And it's an awesome tool, so I'm really glad you're with us.
Yeah. So if you guys, as you're coming on, if you just want to type in the chat what LMS you use, if you use Canvas or Google Classroom. We're just trying to get a feel for who uses Canvas and who uses Google Classroom.
So we'll go ahead and share my screen here. There we go. And if you would like to grab a copy of the presentation, the bit.ly is located there at the bottom of this slide. It kind of moves around, but it's on the first few slides. So trying to get all my screens here so I can see. All right. Welcome to Cami. To let you know, Cami is available for grades 3 and up. We are not aware of its use on the iPad for K2. And of course, K2 has Seesaw. So we really were focused on getting Cami for grades 3 and up so that you have some tools for better differentiation and scaffolding for your students. And so we have Cami. And what is Cami? Is the fact that it allows you to take any document, specifically PDFs, because that's the thing that teachers probably struggle with the most, is that a lot of our materials are already in PDF format, and trying to get them out of PDF format for students to be able to interact with those is not exactly the easiest process. Cami allows that. And I'm not going to take the time to watch the video, but know that it is there so that if you want a copy of this presentation, you can certainly go to the bit.ly, download it, and watch and reference the materials in this presentation as we go. We're going to try to dive into the meat and potatoes as quickly as we can. But know that Buncombe County Schools has now purchased full version of Cami. So teachers have access to all of the tools that you're going to see. Cami gave itself to teachers during COVID. And then last year, teachers were able to get a 90-day free trial. But then we had not purchased, some schools purchased, but it wasn't purchased across the board. And this year, all of our teachers, 3rd grade and up, have access.
So, Wendy, I'm sorry to interrupt. We don't have a passcode, do we, to get in, a code to get in?
To the Zoom?
Right.
It was just a part of the password and everything was part of the join link.
Okay. We had someone ask in the chat or mention that someone was asking for a code. So I just wanted to clarify.
There is no code as long as they're joining through with their, well, they shouldn't even have to log in. So.
Two who cannot get in.
I don't have a, let's see, hold on. Do I have any information? Hold on. The password's a part of the link. There shouldn't be any. Oh, there's the passcode. 433573. 433573.
All right, I typed it in the chat. So hopefully we can get those people in.
Absolutely.
All right.
All righty. So as we're getting started in the chat, if you will kind of let us know what is your Kami expertise. Have you experimented with the free version? Have you used the full version, but then got reduced back to free? And now you're excited to know that you have access? Or are you, Kami came across and started talking about differentiation, and that's why I'm here. All right. Fantastic. You're going to love Kami. I am a huge fan of Kami. I got my Kami shirt on here. I absolutely have bought into Kami fully. So let's look at what it brings and what it does for us. So it does integrate with our Google Drive. So when you go and you sign in with Kami, you'll sign in with your BCS email, and it will link up with your Google Drive. And through that, Kami is compliant. It really does keep all of our data safe. If you've experimented, you know that under the free account, you basically have annotation tools. But under the paid version that we now have, you and your students have access to a dictionary, text to speech, translation read aloud, video comments, the fact that both you and the student can do video commenting. You can do voice commenting and screen capture. It does allow you to do signatures. So if you have your own PDF documents that you're needing to sign, it does give you that. There's also an equation feature. Now we're going to focus more on the reading side of Kami, but it does have an equation that opens it up for math and for music and for a few other things that use symbols. And it does integrate with both Google Classroom and Canvas. Okay. Just to kind of give you a quick overview of what Kami rates as their top 3 tools for the different content areas. Lots of comments, commenting tools, markup tools, annotation, and even read aloud for ELA. But for our ELL support and our special ed, that text to speech, speech to text, allowing for the drawing, there's the dictionary, and Kami pulls from Microsoft for all of the languages. So there's quite a laundry list of languages, not just Spanish, but it also brings in, I think there's Russian, there's Chinese, there's Argentinian, I don't know. It's a very long list, which is wonderful. Because even sharing things and having kids be able to involve their parents, you have that read aloud capability. Okay. Kami helps us with students who need accommodations. It personalizes it. It takes some of that burden off of you. I know for our elementary and intermediate, as we're looking at wit and wisdom, there is an enormous amount that you have to cover in that content, and sometimes trying to figure out how am I going to differentiate all of this. Kami can help support that, and it can help you clone yourself just a little bit, because It has the read aloud capability, but it also has the ability for you to make a video to help explain, to read it aloud yourself, because I understand some don't like the more mechanical voices. And so Cami just allows for all of those features. Again, it integrates with both of our LMS systems that we use for third and up. And Leanne and I are going to demonstrate that as we dive in. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I just start rattling on. And then somewhere along the way, I realized I never introduced myself. I never introduced Leanne. Y'all have no idea who we are. I just jump in the middle of everything and then go, wait, I never did that. So
That's okay.
of everything, I'm going to stop and let you know who we are. I am one of the blended learning coaches, and I serve the elementary schools, the 4 elementaries in the North Buncombe district. And then Leanne is with us,
Hi.
one of our new blended learning coaches, and I'll let her tell a little bit about herself.
Yes, I am a high school blended learning coach. So I serve the early college, middle college, Nesbitt Discovery Academy, and TC Robertson High School, as well as the virtual academy. So actually, the virtual academy is K-12. So I'm getting to do a little bit of everybody actually now. So yeah.
So here we are to talk about Cami. I'm going to talk about the Google Classroom side while Leanne's going to show you the Canvas side. So at this moment, let me check to make sure. Yes, I'm at a good place. Do we have any questions up to this point? I know I've kind of jumped in and all right, just scrolling through the chat real quick. All right. So let's go take a look at Cami. These GIFs are here just as a reference point. I would not share this slide with students, but you could pull the GIFs off if you needed them. They are very quick little snips of how the different tools kind of work in action. So we have text to speech, the dictionary, the drawing, and the equation editor. The next slide gives us a few of the other tools. We left these in here just so that if you needed them, you could pull those out and just pop those into your Google Classroom or your Canvas course. But those are not exactly there for us to teach from. But we are going to jump in and explore real quick. So I'm going to actually start at camiapp.com. Camiapp.com is their main page. And it's here that I would recommend that you would sign in and give rights to Cami to access Google, your Google Drive, your Google Classroom. It just kind of goes through the process of prompting you to go ahead and give that access over. And one of the things that you're going to see is that there is a create a classroom assignment. So real quick, when you go into camiapp.com, Immediately, it's going to allow you to open from Google Drive or OneDrive, which is tied to our Microsoft account. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the OneDrive piece. You can open a PDF directly from your computer, and then you can actually go ahead and create a classroom assignment from it. Here's the thing to know about Kami. Students can go to kamiapp.com as well. However, the licensing, the way that works, Kami licensed based on the teacher, not the student. So if the student logs into Kami, they get the free version. They only get access to the paid version through you, the teacher. So in order to pass on that paid version, if you will, you have to create either a classroom assignment in Google Classroom, or you have to create a Kami assignment using Canvas. By going through that assignment and working with the PDF, that's how the students will get full access to all of the tools. If you just upload a PDF and they open the PDF in Kami, they will be in the free version, okay? So just want to make that somewhat clear. I want to explain OCR before I go in too far. PDFs are flat, if you will. PDFs kind of act like images of text. And so the OCR is optical character recognition. So if Kami ever prompts you to run OCR on your PDF, you want to say yes, because the OCR is what's going to allow the read aloud to actually work. If you don't run the OCR, then your PDFs can't be read aloud because it sees it more as an image rather than recognizing the words as text. Okay. You can also split and merge PDFs. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but if you happen to have 2 or 3 PDFs and you're wanting to pull different pages from those, Kami will give you the tools to do that. Okay. I'm going to jump in with creating a classroom assignment. I've already signed in. I've already allowed the connection. And so mine goes directly to Google Classroom Kami assignment. At this, I would actually title it, and I don't think I want Zoom. I'll just call it practice. And you would upload the PDF directly from your Google Drive or from your computer. Now, I happen to have some wit and wisdom things here, so I'm just going to attach that lovely PDF. And here's what I love. Immediately, Kami and Google Classroom are taking care of me. They're going to make a copy of it for every student. I always forget that step. And when I go to edit it, that option is not there. And so the Kami assignment has it built in to make a copy for every student. I then would choose my Google Classroom. I could go ahead and select a topic if I wanted. And then there is this piece right here of send Kami instructions to students. If I had high school kids, that would probably be okay. Elementary, I'm probably going to walk them through accessing it the very first time rather than relying on a PDF to help my kids through. And I'm going to assign that. Now, that's the way I would do it the very first time. Once I've assigned it in Google Classroom, fingers are crossed, Google Classroom is then going to give us, let me get to the classwork here. Once I've made all those connections, I should be able to click the create the way I normally do And instead of creating an assignment, I would create a Kami assignment. So I would go through the kamiapp.com the very first time to connect it to my Google Classroom and give the permissions and everything needed. And then, fingers crossed, the Kami assignment should show up in Google Classroom from then on, so that you don't have to go through kamiapp.com every single time you do it. I have seen where randomly teachers, there's a delay, and this takes a while to show up. I don't know why. I've tried to research it and I've had no success in that. But just to look at our practice one that I created to come across, I'm going to view the assignment so that you see it from the student's perspective, which is this way. There's my PDF. It's in Kami. When I click, it goes into this preview mode, and the students would simply open to annotate with Kami. And if all goes well, Kami will actually open. Here's all of our tools. Okay. So just to go through this real quick, if my student is not sure what handout means, I can highlight it, hit the word dictionary, and it's going to give me the definition of what that word means. If I don't know how to say it, I can do text to speech. And the little button here that says Microsoft in very tiny print is where you would go to change your language. And we have Arabic, Bulgarian, Danish, German, Greek, lots of English options, including British and South Africa. We have Spanish, French. There's a lot. So I'm just going to leave it with David there. And the more I highlight, the more he will read for me. And I don't know if his voice is coming across or not. On Zoom, that can often get interesting. You can also affect the speed. So if your little robotic voice is a little too fast or a little too slow, you can speed up, slow down as needed. Under markup, the students have the ability to highlight in a variety of colors so that you could actually tell your students, I want you to highlight this piece, the main idea, I want in orange, I want the nouns in yellow, I want the verbs in green. There are tons of colors to pick from, and if that's not enough, there's the picker that gives them the full scope there. So you have all the colors that you could potentially want. So there's the text highlighter, there's a freehand highlighter, there's box. They can also strike through and underline. I'm going to come back to comment. I'm going to skip it for just a moment because I'm going to hit the ones that are more straightforward. So text box, they can type directly on the document, and the box will grow as they go. They can change the font size and the font color. I don't know that they are able to change the font style, which is probably not a bad thing because some of our kids would spend all their time trying to find a font. The drawing tool, they have the ability to freehand draw in a variety of colors. They can draw shapes and stroke, how big is the line, all those good things. Of course, there's an eraser, But let's talk about the fun stuff that's really, really helpful. Not that text to speech is not helpful, but the interactivity. The fact that sometimes a student needs to be able to not only type a comment, but to be able to do voice typing. And so Cami has that built in. So they can type their comment or they can voice type their comment. Another option is the voice comment, which means that they can just simply record their voice. I'm going to stop that. Let someone join us here. There's a video comment, and I'm not going to click that one just because my video camera is in use by Zoom, and I don't want to risk my poor computer having a heart attack. There's also screen capture. Now, the thing about this is Cami works both ways. Not only do the students have these tools, but you can also have access to these. So if there's something specific that you're wanting your students to do on the document, you can actually screen capture yourself modeling what you want them to do. Okay. The equation tool, there are a ton of symbols and it has more. I am not an expert when it comes to the equation tool, but it is there. Should you need some of the higher math symbols, or again, our music teachers, if you wanted to provide lined paper and they have the sharps and the flats and all those awesome music symbols there. You can also add media. Wit and Wisdom provides several vocabulary videos. You could upload those directly into Cami. You can use a blank Cami document. Your Cami document does not have to be a PDF with words on it. It can actually be a blank page that you share. But you can bring in Google Images, anything from Drive, YouTube videos, or items from your computer. And those options are available for the students as well as for you. Okay. Now, the way this works for the student and for you as the teacher, while the students are working on their document, you can go into Google Drive and have access to all of their documents live as they're working on them. You don't get to see the document live. You have to actually click on it. And then if you open it with Cami, you and the student are on the same document at the same time. So you're live. So if you're in a hybrid situation and you have a student at home and you have given the student an assignment and the student is working and you happen to see that the student is going wayward, they have gotten off track, you can come in and make a comment and they will see that immediately. And they can ask questions and you can respond. When the student is finished, or at least is at a point that they want to turn it in, students will actually see up here among the share, the print, and all of that, they will have a turn in button. And they'll be able to just click turn in, and it sends all their annotations, recordings, captures across to Google Classroom, where they then would turn in the assignment from Google Classroom. Okay. I know that is fast and furious of Google Classroom's integration with Cami and a bit about Cami itself. But do I have any questions related to Kami and or Google Classroom's integration with it before we look at Canvas. Yes, Kami stays the same whether you use Canvas or Google Classroom. And Leanne's going to show you the Canvas side. So we're going to demonstrate that. Awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that Leanne can now show you the Canvas side of things.
All right. All right, so all of my Canvas users, this should be, I'm going to try and be kind of quick about it, but I did create a Canvas course as well, so that everybody can kind of get into that, and you can see what it's going to look like on the student side as well. So I'll give you guys that, that link to join, and you'll be able to see kind of what it looks like on that student end, and be able to look at some of the preferences that you get to choose as a teacher and why you might choose that for your students. So if we're going to create a assignment in Kami, and this is going to look a lot similar to what Wendy just showed you. So we're just going to go, I'm probably going to pick something from my Google Drive. I'll probably pick a PDF. I'm a former English teacher, so I'm a little bit partial to reading. So I'm just going to type in, looking for something that I know, maybe that I've saved recently that was a PDF. Let's do this. Okay, so this is, some of you might recognize, this is from Kelly Gallagher, article of the week. So it's about 2 pages of reading. And if I wanted to give my own instructions, which high school teachers, I think, often want to do that, you know, when you see instructions from somebody else, you know, sometimes you want to give your own instructions. So I might actually not want to fill this. Actually, I think we'll deal with that later. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We'll do this. We'll make a text box. And we're going to fill it. So I want to give my own instructions, right? So I'm going to make a new text box. Oh no, where did it go? Is anybody else seeing that? It just disappears when I add it.
Try the shape tool to cover it up instead of a text box.
Well, that's what I was doing.
Oh, here it is.
I'm going to give it a second. I'm going to click save. I don't know. Okay, that's okay. We can just X those out then. We'll pretend like that's okay. But maybe I want to give different instructions. So I want to say, maybe I want to record my instructions and tell my students, hey guys, I want you to use the screen capture feature to select the piece of this passage that you find to have the most alarming statistics or information, or maybe just the most important anecdote that was shared about how much water you actually need. And then as you are screen sharing, I want you to explain why you chose that section of this article. Okay, so there's your instructions. So I'm a huge fan of just putting the instructions right there. Not necessarily that that I would leave my instructions here, but you know, sometimes it really helps to just hear the teacher leave those instructions in addition to having them written down. So now I'm going to go back to my Canvas and do my assignments.
Leanne, I heard that today used as directions on demand. Sorry to butt in, but I thought that was a neat way where kids could continue to listen to those directions over and over if needed.
I always found it to be really helpful because sometimes we just forget. I mean, even as an adult, I want to go back. I think I was telling Wendy this earlier. Sometimes I run out of space to remember things, and I know that our students do as well. Yeah, I like that. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so this is where it gets a little funky in Canvas, adding a Cami assignment. And you want to make sure that you follow some of these directions. So I'm just going to type in a title here, POW water. Give some basic instructions. Okay, so here where it says submission type, mine's actually already set on external tool because I've been adding some Cami assignments here. So you want to make sure that your submission type says external tool, and then you're going to go to find. So we have all of these loaded into Canvas already. So you're going to look for Cami. And mine is in Google Drive. I'm going to enable real-time monitoring. Wendy, did we say that allows us to kind of see it on to see the student progress?
Yeah, the real-time editing.
Nice.
Yes, Canvas is supposed to offer that as well.
Now I'm going to click load this tool in a new tab, and I'll show you guys why in a little bit. And I did a couple of different assignments using this selection and then not using that as well, so that you can kind of see why loading the Cami tool in a new tab is kind of, to me, it would be a big deal. All right, let's make a due date. Save and publish. Okay, so now the assignment is ready. So I'm actually going to show you guys what some of these assignments will look like in Canvas. So this is a sample assignment that I posted to load in a different tab. And you'll see it automatically takes them to the same tools, the same resources that we have as teachers. Oops. But then if I go to a different assignment that I posted not to open in another tab, you can see there the students are just going to work in the window itself. Oops. So students are just going to work in the window itself. And I find that to be just a little bit harder to manage. So I like to click that little extra step that says open tool and new window or new tab. All right, any questions about adding an assignment for Cami in Canvas? Cami in Canvas.
You would think that we're in a Zoom with a bunch of teachers who've taught all day and are really tired.
I totally understand.
We completely understand. So what we're going to do is, let me go back to my screen share here real quick.
And I just posted, for those of you who are interested in seeing what the assignments look like in Canvas, and you want to see, I also added some tutorial videos in there too. If you want to take a look at that, you can add yourself to that course just by clicking that link, even if you don't use Canvas. It still has some resources in there that you might be interested in.
Absolutely. So for you, when you go to sign in, just want to point out that the camiapp.com is where I would recommend that you start, just so that you can give those permissions to Cami to access your Google Drive and all of that. There is a Cami Chrome extension. And so if you go to the address there or just Google search it, you can install the extension, which is just the little circle with the K on it. It, in essence, opens the same website. So you don't, in my experience, you don't have to have the extension in order for Cami to work correctly. But they are there just because it's a real quick shortcut to Cami. Okay. And just to let you know, everything is already set up. So when you sign in with your Buncombe County email, you should have the full version. Again, when you create that assignment and the students then click on the PDF and open it with Cami, you're pushing that license across so that they have full access. They see the tools just as you do, and they can use those tools as they need. So you can give guidance, but it also gives scaffolding for students who may just need to hear a word out loud. If it's a word that's unfamiliar to them. It may not necessarily be a student who is known for needing accommodations. My personal children have benefited from the read aloud tools just because they occasionally will encounter words that they're like, I don't know what that is. And then, of course, the dictionary. I want to let you know that Cami has done an extraordinary job of providing help, support, and training. So the Cami Certified Educator is a 1-hour overview of all of the tools that you can find in Cami, and it gives you a nice little synopsis of when and how to use those tools. I highly recommend it. It is 1 hour self-paced. So you would, you apply and then they send you a link through your email and you go in, you sign in under your BCS, again, tie it all together and become a Cami Certified Educator. They do have a level 2 of their Certified Educator, and it's phenomenal. It is for teachers who highlight Cami being used for accommodations, differentiation, assessment, and interactivity, if I am not mistaken. I know it's 4 different areas. And it's demonstration after demonstration of how to really use Kami with your students to bring about that differentiation that they need. But what I like about Kami is that it takes a lot off the shoulders of the teachers, and it provides the tools there for the students so that you're not having to figure out, okay, I've got to read this aloud, I've got to provide this scaffolding. Kami has those tools in there already for you. And the last slide on that is just the fact that Kami has a YouTube channel, they have a blog, and they have a help center. And their help is pretty succinct. Just to back up a little bit, I've linked to one of the help documents, and that is linking the Google Classroom to Kami. If you click on the Google Classroom icon, it will take you to one of their support documents that just walks you through and provides you links to how to get the extension. And they have all of that. All right. So as we're kind of coming to the end, are there any questions? You can certainly put them in the chat. I am going to put my learning plan link here real quick in the chat, because we would like for you to get credit. We will also be posting the recording of this within the next few days to a week, give or take. We will get it posted and linked up. It'll be on our YouTube channel, so that if you want to come back and revisit and listen to me and Leanne once again. Another thing that I want to put out there is that because you joined us, you will be getting the cute little Kami dog sticker to go on whatever you'd like to stick him on. And so I will do my best to run a roster and know that little Kami dog, she doesn't have a name, just Kami dog, will be coming to you for joining us today. So thank you. I don't know that anybody's going to cry if we let you go a few minutes early, but we will stick around. That if you want to take yourself off of mute to ask questions, you want to put it in the chat. Leanne and I are here. We are happy to help. And know that if we are not your assigned blended learning coach, you have an assigned blended learning coach that you can also reach out to, but you can certainly email Leanne or I any specific Kami questions that you might have. Awesome. You are quite welcome. Thank y'all so much for joining us. I mean, yes. Here it is almost 4:30 on a Tuesday, and y'all have hung in here with us. So we really appreciate that. I hope you've gained something and know that Kami is there for you to use. And we want to see you put it to good use. So, all right. Fantastic. Well, have a great evening as you're leaving us. We thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.